fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head that D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, folks, to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That there is Ken Francis. Back in our sound room, it's TK and Heavy D's back this week. So we'll check in with those guys here in just a few minutes. Ken, another fun night on FRL. Lots of local teams in action tonight. Lots of fun. We're going to talk baseball. We're going to talk softball. We're going to talk track and field.
Yes, we are. You know, big-time baseball games tonight, Craig. Got to witness one myself. Went 10 innings. We saw another Shelby County League team come back from 6 runs down in the last inning to win a crazy game. And then we saw Fort Laramie Redskins with a nice win over Triad tonight. The 10-inning game, of course, the Russia Raiders, and then the Anna Rockets with a big comeback. So we'll talk about them games a little later. And, we're going to talk a little track. We're going to talk some softball. So just a lot to look forward to tonight on Fish Report Live.
Yeah, before we get to all that, though, Ken, just like we do here every week on this show, we have our weekly poll question. And I know several weeks ago we had Anna coach Dean Stewart on this show, which, by the way, congratulations to him, won another SCAL title over there. And by the way, their girls did it, too, under Coach Brian Rioch over there. So they swept the county meet last Friday. But
so they won both meets.
They won both meets.
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Now, all right.
Contrary
to what I read sometimes in the local newspaper, they did win both races. Anna Rockets. Congratulations, Anna Rockets. You won the boys and girls Shelby County League track meet.
Absolutely. But we talked to Coach Dean Stewart about a kind of a hot topic here, and that is the subject of tonight's poll question.
Yes, it is, Craig. How many divisions do our listeners feel there should be in the OHSAA track and field? Should there be 3, 4, 5, or 6? Interesting question tonight. Anxious to hear what our viewers say.
Yeah, we'll actually try to ask Coach Dan Schafer about that a little later in the show, to get his thoughts on it after we talked to Coach Stewart about it a few weeks ago. But if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page right now on your computers, you can scroll down, help us answer tonight's poll question, and check the results. If you're watching us on NK Telco, we will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, well, let's get things started. And I want to bring in the sound room guys, Ken, here and talk about that. Let's start out talking a little baseball. There were a number of Division III, Division IV games tonight, sectional finals, games of interest to us. And I know all you guys were over there at Sydney High School watching number 1 seed Lehman take on number 2 seed Russia. Big matchup there because we had the SCAL Player of the Year and Hunter Cohey for the Raiders on the mound. And Lehman had what I'm sure is going to be the NWCC Player of the Year and Parker Riley on the mound for them. So, guys, fill me in. TK, what happened in that game?
It was a great game from start to finish. Both teams battling, as you said, probably the best pitchers around. Plus or minus Jared Mittendorf over at Fort Laramie, who some might argue he's probably in there too. Of course, as you said, SCAL's top player and Hunter was our starter for Russia. Riley went the whole game, 10 innings. It was a 10 innings classic game.
Wow.
124 pitches according to most of the fans there, and everybody knows the limit's 125, so he gave it his all, but not quite enough. As I said, close game. Raiders came out, scored early to keep themselves in the game and keep Parker Riley from getting in a groove, which he did about mid-innings. Lehman was able to come back and take the lead. Everybody kind of settled in from there. Things tied up in the fourth. Hunter Cohey, our starting pitcher, came out. Jack Dayport came in relief and threw a gem facing the top of the lineup for Lehman twice, not letting them get anything done there. And in the end, the Raiders, for the 7th time this year, came up to their last at-bat and took the lead and won the game. So quite a good team. And I think we talked about it before. They did the same against Anna. Stays in the game, keeps fighting, and able again to score 3 runs in the top of the 10th. Jack came back in, bottom of the 10th, took out the Lehman threat, and the game was the Raiders, and they're moving on to Springboro. I believe they play Newton at 5 o'clock on Friday.
So the number 2 team in the state, Lehman Cavaliers, go down to unranked Russia. And guys, I think their next game you mentioned against Newton, I believe they're also ranked as well, aren't they?
They're ranked number 3 in the state right now, Craig. But, I think the state polls, honestly, they don't mean crap, to be honest with you. You go back about 4 weeks when Anna was ranked in Division 3 and Russia was ranked in Division 4. In 1 week's time, Russia beat Anna twice. The following week, Russia drops out of the poll, and Anna, interestingly, moves up in the poll. So, go figure. But anyways, yeah. Lehman Cavaliers, congratulations on a great season. But more importantly, Coach Flippo and the Raiders, congratulations. You're moving on. Great game, and a lot of it had to do with the Raiders' strength of schedule that they would challenge them all year. I think, they had that never-die attitude, and they faced some great competition throughout the year, and it paid off tonight.
Guys, so we saw, Russia's ace, Hunter Cohey, on the mound starting tonight, and then Jack Dayport came on in relief. I know Russia has a very deep pitching staff, but I assume on Friday that means Daniel Kearns possibly is the starter in that game?
I would highly believe that Coach Flippo will go to the sophomore Daniel Kearns. He's had a great year for the Raiders, and, hey, it's just another baseball game once it starts. So Daniel will be up to the challenge, and I look for the Raiders to be very successful.
All right. Well, I know we had a number of other local games as well. Ken, who else was in action, and what kind of results did we have?
Well, Shelby County League fared very well tonight, Craig. Fort Laramie took on a very good Triad team. Triad came in ranked as the number 3 seed over our Fort Laramie was the number 4 seed. Fort Laramie ended up winning the game, Craig, 7-4. They took advantage of a couple big Triad errors and got great relief help from Eli Rosengard, who took over for Jared Mittendorf. I think it was in about the 5th or 6th inning there. So Redskins move on. Coach Sturwald again finding a way to advance, and congratulations to him and his team, Craig. But the most exciting game of the night, well, maybe not more than that 10-inning game that was played over at Sydney High School, but another exciting game. Anna Rockets, Craig, they took on Northeastern. They won the game 13-12. They're down 12-7 going into the bottom of the 7th, and they plated 6 runs in the sectional championship. Came out with a 13-12 win. The trophy that Anna gets for that, Craig, well, they don't really get a trophy, but they get to take on CHCA, the baseball academy out of Cincinnati, Craig. All they do there is manufacture baseball players.
Yeah, it's a baseball factory down there, that's for sure.
But great win for the Rockets. Congratulations, and best of luck Friday when you take on CHCA.
And then one more local team, our neighbors over there in Versailles, played tonight also, didn't they?
Versailles, Craig, baseball's a funny game. Their opening round tournament game, they squeaked by with a 1-run victory, I think, in 8 or 9 innings it was. Tonight, Craig, they took on a Milton Union team, had no trouble, winning 11-1. They now take on Cincinnati Country Day, another very good baseball school down there. They'll play them Friday at Hamilton High School.
All right, well, a lot of fun, a lot of local teams, like we said, in action tonight, and all of them are moving on. So looking forward to this weekend and seeing how things shake out in those district final games. Heavy D, we don't want to forget about our girls in softball. Of course, all those sectional final games were on Tuesday night, and our local Russia Raiders actually went down to a good Mechanicsburg team who had a very good pitcher over there, a girl by the name of Alicia Stapleton. She was actually an All-Ohio junior last year, but from what I'm told, didn't attend the game, but from what I'm told, she was pretty much unhittable. Although the Raiders did manage 3 hits off of her, they bow out with a very good team and a very good season, but I know that doesn't leave anybody left from the SCAL, but there are some other teams, I guess, from the Southwest District that we may or may not be watching. Who do you got?
Yeah, let's take a look at the Southwest District moving in. So we've got Fayetteville playing Riverside. That's going to take place this Saturday at Eaton High School. We've got Mechanicsburg playing Franklin Monroe. Should be a good matchup there. That's going to be at Pickle High School. Williamsburg is playing Covington, again Saturday also, down in Mason. And Parkway playing Minster. So good luck to the Minster Wildcats as they take on arch rival Parkway.
Yeah, we those bottom 2 teams on that picture you have there, those teams, if those would win, they would meet each other. So possibly see a Williamsburg Covington, whatever. Hopefully Covington wins that one, being our neighbors, and then the Parkway Minster game, whoever wins that will match up against maybe Covington in that one. But Minster won a big game tonight against New Bremen, a team that we actually had on this show here last week. So hopefully we didn't jinx them.
I don't think we did, Craig. It's interesting when you look at that bracket there of district championships game, and the 4 teams that feed into the regional there, with the MAC coming down to join the teams from our particular area. Baseball is not that way, just so everybody understands that. You know, a lot of people from Russia, Fort Loramie, our particular area, worry about Delphos St. John's or Marion Local or St. Henry or Minster or Fort Recovery for a matter of that. But those teams do not come down to our regional anymore. They have not for the last year or two, and will not this year as well.
But they do in softball.
They do in softball.
All right, great stuff, guys. Listen, we're going to take a short break, but stay right there because when we come back, we're going to talk some more postseason sports. We're going to talk some track and field with Russia coach Dan Schafer.
Stage at the leaving van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, Ken, we were talking a little baseball and softball, some postseason high school tournament action. Now we're going to talk a little track and field, and the D3 Southwest District Track and Field Championships kicked off with day 1 on Tuesday night. It concludes this Saturday with the day 2 finals down there at Milton Union High School. Our next guest, Ken, is in his 9th year at Russia High School as the track and field coach. He's also a 1978 graduate of Russia High School. We welcome to the program now Mr. Dan Schafer. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you, but
Coach,
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for all you do for the local high school sports.
Absolutely, Coach. Hey, just before I get over to Craig here, you might be in the planter planting corn, so that might be why you're having trouble hearing us. I'm not sure.
Well, I am doing my 2 favorite things right now, planting corn and talking track.
All right.
Perfect. Well, listen, Coach, I know you and Coach Brad Heaton over there work together to coach the boys and girls teams. So I want to lump all your athletes together tonight, but your program is used to a lot of success here at Russia. And I know just on Tuesday night, your girls 4x8 relay team, they're already moving on to regionals after winning their race. I know one of your throwers, your freshman thrower over there, Mackenzie Wenrick, is actually moving to regionals after placing 4th in the shot put. You have a number of girls and boys that also are moving on to the finals on Saturday. Coach, let's talk about day 1 a little bit on Tuesday. Were there any surprises, good or bad?
Well, absolutely. So let's get the bad stuff out of the way first so we can concentrate on the positive things. We had Drew Poling and disc was a real letdown for everybody, including Drew. He was 5th place in regional last year, missed state by 1 place. And this year he really worked hard on disc, and he increased his distance by about 10 feet. And he just had a really off night last night, a couple fouls and a really bad throw, and he didn't make finals, and, he was done. So we can't focus on that anymore. We got to get him back focused on high jump. We want to get him out of district and regionals in high jump, and I believe we can. So we need to get that taken care of. And then we also had Cole Tebby in the pole vault, didn't do what he has been doing lately. He had an off night, too, in pole vault. And Jack Mormon in the 400, he's been a really strong 400 runner for us. He had a little bit of an off race, but it was really some great competition last night. And he didn't quite make finals. He missed it by a place. But then he came back and ran a really good 2, and he'll be in 200 finals. Some of the good things we had, like you said, girls 4x8, 4x4, 4x2. Mackenzie is a freshman making regionals in shot put. As it isn't too often you hear a girl shot putter as a freshman doing that, so that was really great. And on the boys' side, we have in the finals in 4x1, 4x2, 4x4, Cole in the 110 hurdles. He went under 16, I think, for the first, might be the second time this season. And Jack in the 200. We got Drew coming up in high jump, so we got a lot of things to look forward to on Saturday morning.
All right, Coach. Well, listen, I want to mention your seniors. I know how important they are to a program. And on the girls' side, you have, of course, Shay Gubo, Grace York, and Rachel York. On the boys' side, you have Noah Dries, Jack Mormon. You mentioned Drew Poling and Cole Tabby as well. Coach, tell me, what do those seniors do for your program that maybe us fans don't see, that, we just go to the meets on Saturdays and just read about you in the paper? How important are those seniors to you?
Well, I'll tell you what, they're a great group of kids. They're great leaders. If anybody would come to our practice, you're stretched kind of thin as a track coach anyway when you got 17 different events you're trying to coach, and there's only 3 of us, and sometimes we can't make it, or Brad can't make the practice, and we're late, or we got things going on, and the seniors step up and they take charge, and they're out there doing the workout. We just have to text them the workout, and they get it done. And we also have a special needs kid, a boy on the team, and like this year, the senior boys wanted him to run in a relay, so they volunteered to run in a relay on the 4x1 and put him in as anchor. And I mean, you won't see this at a lot of schools, but he is really a part of the team just like everybody else. And that's what my seniors do, is they inspire and they work with the younger kids coming up, and they try to make them better so we have a better team.
Coach, hi, this is Ken. Let's talk a little bit about one of your underclassmen, one of your stars in the field events, and that's pole vaulter Emily Bowman. Every time I look on a meet, it seems like she's breaking some kind of a meet record or school record or something. Outstanding pole vaulter, just a junior. Tell us what it's going to take for her to be successful on Saturday, and then also the following week and a chance to get to Columbus.
Well, I have no doubt that Emily's going to be successful. She works really hard at pole vault. She loves pole vault. She isn't afraid of anything. She was hampered a little bit earlier in the season with she had a quad injury. She was slowed her up on the runway a little bit. But now I believe she's back to almost 100%, which has got her speed back up on the runway. And I truly believe that if we have some decent weather in the next couple of meets, I think she's going to break 12 foot before we even get to the state meet. She is so confident this year in what she can do, and I hope the best for her.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about senior, someone we've already talked a little bit about, but that's senior Drew Poling. He's been a great athlete for Russia in many sports over the years. You talked about his discus throw the other day, was not as successful as we had hoped, but he's got a great shot in the high jump. He's the Shelby County League champion, clearing 6'2". What's it going to take for Drew to have a legitimate chance to get to the regionals and further?
Well, I'm looking at the district heights. We have to be clean, or we have to jump high. Usually you have to do one or the other, and sometimes if the field is stacked in high jump, then you have to be both. But I think this year, if we just jump clean and we jump 6'2", maybe 6'3", I think Drew has a legitimate shot to make it to state this year. Last year, Josh York jumped at the state meet, and he podiumed being clean through 6'2". So there's always a chance. High jump is just a little bit down this year, so that working in Drew's favor.
Coach, I got one more question here before I turn it back over to Craig. And you might have some interest in this poll question that we're asking our viewers tonight. And the question is, how many divisions do you feel the OHSAA track and field postseason should be? Should it be 3, 4, 5, or 6? Interesting, we asked a fellow coach of yours, Dean Stewart, a couple weeks ago this same question. And how do you feel, what's your personal opinion on how many different divisions there should be?
Well, it really doesn't matter to me, to be quite truthful, because no matter how many divisions they have, we're always going to be one of the smallest schools. And if they put 5 divisions in, or 4, or 10, we're going to be one of the smallest schools to compete in whatever division. I like to run and compete against good athletes. That only makes your program better when you run your quad meets and your invitationals around your hometown, where it's just nothing but all the kids you're going to run up against in your district and regional meets. To me, the only thing I can see out of it is the OHSAA. It's some way for them to make some more money if they want to change it up, and I can see how that could be. But I really don't care myself, because, like I say, we're always going to be the smallest, and I like competing against good kids in our regional here. If you can get out of our regional, it's about where you place at state. So to me, it doesn't really matter. If we go to state, I want to earn it. I don't want to have to compete against, you make it feel like it isn't worth your time to go there if you're just competing against, I shouldn't say lesser schools, but some of the schools that don't have the track reputation that we do in this area. So I'm perfectly fine the way it is, and if they want to change it, they ain't going to listen to me anyway. So whatever they want to do, they're going to do anyhow.
Interesting response, Coach. Hey, listen, I got to get to the story before we let you go, but, I got to tell our viewers, you and I ran into each other last Sunday night, and you told me an amazing story, and I actually sent it out on Twitter tonight. Guys, can you bring that picture up on the screen? We got a picture of you, and I actually put this out on Twitter tonight. I have a picture of you and a friend of yours named Roger Dittmer, and I said on Twitter, one of these guys ran 90 miles from Columbus to Houston, Ohio. I said, if you want to find out who, tune in tonight to Fish Report Live. But I want to set the story up a little bit. But you told me this guy was a friend of yours, and back in 1976, he ran from Ohio State to Houston. And I know there was a lot more to the story than that, but I know it's an unbelievable story. You actually sent me the newspaper article to it this week and proved that it's all legit. It was in the Sydney Daily News. But you use this story as a motivational thing with your athletes every year. So fill the blanks in for our viewers on this story a little bit, and tell us how you use this story to motivate your track and field athletes.
Sure, absolutely. Roger Dittmer is a family friend of ours, and he was a great distance runner at Houston. Well, him and some fraternity boys, I don't know, maybe he was drinking a little bit too much lemonade or something, and anyway, he bet them that he could run home to Houston from Ohio State, and his fraternity friend from Houston also was a good runner. So they made this bet that they could run home, and they took off like 6 o'clock in the morning, and they started running, and they made it out of town about 10 miles, and Roger's friend decided it was a little bit too much for him, so he turned around and went back, and he gave up. But Roger, he kept running and running and running, and had a lot of interesting things happen to him on his run back. Of course, back then, 33 was a 2-lane road, and a lot of great people helped him out along the way. Some farmer family seen him running, and they went to the grocery store, and they came back, and he was still running, and they asked him what he was doing, so he told them. Well, they went to their house and made him sandwiches and got him some chips and stuff for something to eat, and he looked in the bag that they left there at the end of their lane, and there was a couple beers in there because at that time it was the only thing that was in a can. Everything else was in bottles, or there was no bottled water. So he thought, heck, why not? So he drank them, and he said he felt great. And he ran all the way back to the house, and it was like 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. And says he remembers walking in the house, and he thought, well, I better take a cold bath. So he filled the bathtub up, and he sat down in the tub, and his dad knocked on the door, and he said, "You make it home okay?" He says, "Sure did, Dad." He says, "I feel okay." And he says, "Good." He says, "We got hay to bale tomorrow, so make sure you're ready to go." And Roger said the next day he got up, he felt good, and went out and worked on the farm all day. It was like nothing ever happened.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
So
Good story.
The motivational story for me, for the kids, is if you say you're going to do something and you tell other people about it, you better go ahead and do it, or else you're going to live with regrets the rest of your life. And living with regrets is a tough thing. So I want my kids and athletes on my team to only think about positive things and things that they have accomplished, and not things that they gave up on and because it was too hard. So that's the example that I use for Roger Dittmer.
That's a great story there, Coach. Appreciate you sharing that with our viewers tonight.
I'm actually going to share that tomorrow. I'm going to put that on the Fish Report website so our viewers can, the people that didn't watch the show tonight can see that as well. That story to me is just amazing. I'm glad you told me about it. So.
That's a great story. All right. Well, listen, Coach, I appreciate you being on our show tonight. Best of luck to you and the Raiders in the postseason, districts this weekend, regionals the following, and hopefully you get a van load plus of athletes over to Columbus and Jesse Owens in a couple weeks.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me on, and anytime you want to call, I'll talk track.
Sounds great.
All right, that was Russia head track and field coach Dan Schafer. Good talking to him. And one more thing to get to tonight, Ken, and that is our poll question we asked at the beginning of the night, and you actually asked Coach Schafer as well. Let's read that one more time.
We did. We're going to ask our viewers out there tonight, how many divisions do you feel there should be in OHSA track and field? Should there be 3, 4, 5, or 6? We're going to see what our viewers had to say tonight. Go back to TK and Heavy D in the sound room. What's the results look like, guys?
Well, for some reason, there's 2 people that think there should be 6 divisions. I think that'd be a little thin, but the vast majority does say there should be at least 4 divisions. So 58% say 4 divisions in high school track, which might be a little bit better.
More, huh?
Yeah, so that'd be interesting. We'll see once, like Coach Schafer says, you get it too watered down. You don't feel like you're being successful, but I think 4 divisions would be very fair.
All right, good stuff. And one more thing I want to mention, I actually saw some news this morning, guys, where over ESPN said that the long-time running morning show of Mike and Mike, that is Mike Greenberg and Mike Golick, been together for 18 years doing that morning show. I listened to him off and on over the years, but actually breaking up. I think we're gonna succeed them as a longer running show than them now.
They might be.
Better yet, I think we can probably move into that time slot for ESPN.
I was thinking, is there any reason, Heavy D back here, why we couldn't do that?
I don't live in New York, but I could commute. I guess.
We'll have to make a call to Bristol over there and see if maybe we can be a simulcast or whatever you want to say.
Technology in today's world, I see no reason why it can't happen.
We'll have to expand the studio a bit, but a couple
6 to
bobbleheads.
7, I'm okay.
Yeah.
All right, great stuff, guys, and that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. I do want to say special thanks to our guest, Dan Schafer, for joining us. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report, hanging at the